I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network, and this is a breaking news alert. Stephen Miller, a former senior policy advisor in the Trump White House, and Brian Jack, who served formerly as the White House political director, have received subpoenas from the Department of Justice through the grand jury process that is taking place right now in Washington, D.C., which is investigating the unlawful conduct by Donald Trump and others in connection with overturning the free and fair election in 2020. The grand jury subpoenas that have now been served on Stephen Miller and Brian Jack focus on two specific issues, according to a recent report by the New York Times, Maggie Haberman, Adam Golden, and Alan Fior. They focus on the Save America PAC's unlawful conduct. This was the organization that was formed by Donald Trump just days after the 2020 election, not before, to spread the big lie and to basically con and dupe the MAGA followers into providing money based on false accusations and false allegations of election fraud, which all of Trump's inner circle stated were false and conclusively false, and which Trump's own Department of Justice Attorney General Bill Barr said was bullshit. We saw the January 6th committee in one of their presentations also focus and hone in on the Save America PAC and how the money was being used by the Save America PAC to support the conduct by insurrectionists and to support other unlawful conduct, and actually not to support any of the causes that it claimed it was going to. And of course, it was founded on ultimately the big lie. The other focus of the grand jury subpoenas that were issued to Stephen Miller and Brian Jack, which we've seen a lot lately of the Department of Justice focus, is on the fake elector slates. These were the fake slates of electors that Trump and others in his inner circle worked with Republican state legislators to submit to the National Archives. Ultimately, their plan was to submit these fake electors and have Mike Pence agree with all of the Republican members of Congress and the senators who were objecting to certification. And they were hoping that Mike Pence would basically say, because he had to just certify the results, and it was just a routine task that he's tasked with under the United States Constitution, but they wanted him to reject what actually the electors, the people of the states, voted on, and in their place substitute these fake electors. And when Vice President Pence refused to do that, Trump tried to get Mike Pence killed and inspired, encouraged, and directed the insurrection on January 6th to, by political violence, stop the counting of the electors. And from the reporting that we've seen, and from January 6th, Trump was going to roll up like a conqueror and declare himself king or emperor, walk up to the Capitol and bring in those fake slates of electors and say, here we go. You see, I am now the president for life, basically was Donald Trump's plan, is what's, kind of come out during the January 6th hearings. So those are the areas that are being focused on by the grand jury. Stephen Miller, Brian Jack received these subpoenas. Brian Jack still serves as a advisor to President Trump. Stephen Miller, I believe, does as well, and has actually been paid by the Save America PAC, according to the New York Times article. Back on December 14th of 2020, Stephen Miller was on TV bragging about the fake electors. He said, we'll have alternative elector slates, but those are the fake electors that they wanted to submit. And all of this was to undermine the results of a lawful election. I mean, submitting a false declaration and false documents to the government, certifying false electors to derail our democratic system, our process of electing presidents that have gone on for since our nation's founding, is a crime. And also, the Save America PAC type of crimes resemble and are similar to what Steve Bannon for the Build the Wall or We Build the Wall organization, when they tried to where they actually did misappropriate, were the allegations raised by the Department of Justice, significant funds like $25 or $30 million to purportedly build the wall. Bannon was pardoned for that. Bannon is now being prosecuted out of the Manhattan District Attorney's Office on state law violations for his fraud and multiple felony counts in connection with manipulating and deceiving his own donors to put money into this wall when in fact it was going to him. And so that Save America PAC was basically doing the same thing. And so that's one of the other areas that the Department of Justice is investigating. The Department of Justice's overall investigation has been heating up lately. We know that some of Trump's own kind of inner circle lawyers, Pat Cipollone, has spoken with the grand jury very recently. We know the other lawyer, Cipollone's deputy, Philbin, has also testified before the grand jury for significant periods of time a few weeks back. So the overall Department of Justice investigation is heating up. Another sign of it, of course, though, is this breaking news that Stephen Miller, the senior policy advisor when Trump was president, and Brian Jack, who served as the White House political director, received subpoenas from the federal grand jury investigating Trump's criminal conduct to engage in election interference on January 6, 2020, leading up to it as well, and the conduct, in fact, since then. We'll keep you updated on more breaking news developments. I'm Ben Meiselas. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. One of the ways you can support independent journalism is by subscribing to this channel right now. Join the Meidas Mighty movement by hitting the subscribe button right now. Also, we just started a Patreon account. Patreon.com/MeidasTouch. Patreon.com/MeidasTouch. We get asked a lot, hey, I live in another country, or hey, I even live in the United States. How can we support your independent media company? How can we help out? What can we do? One way you can do it is by becoming a patron, and you can do that by going to patreon.com/MeidasTouch and join the community of the Meidas Mighty on Patreon. Otherwise, just hit the subscribe button. It goes a long way. We'll be back with some more breaking news. I'm Ben Meiselas.
MeidasTouch is unapologetically pro-democracy. And look, we know you are too. So please make sure you check out our best-selling shirt and our best-selling gear, the unapologetically pro-democracy gear. And hey, while you're at it, make sure you check out my favorite shirt and one of our most famous designs. It wasn't rigged, you're just a loser. At store.MeidasTouch.com. That's store.MeidasTouch.com.